Well, today South Africans will hear details of the reinstatement of the 350 Rand per month support grant to unemployed people. This is until March next year. Now, the Minister of Finance, Tito Mboweni, will be joined by his National Treasury executives to explain government's continued support measures amid the continuing COVID-19 impact on the economy. Now, Mboweni will also unpack the deferment of the pay-as-you-earn taxes on businesses and the payment of excise taxes by the alcohol sector to try and ease the burden on the business sector as it tries to recover from the lockdowns. Well, joining me now to discuss this and what we can expect from the minister is our business reporter, Kopano Gumbi. Kopano, good morning to you. Good of you to join us. So, the question on everyone's mind is, where is this money going to come from? That's the big question.
That is the big question, absolutely, fully. And, you know, it's interesting that we hear from the Minister of Finance at this time. He's generally quite elusive and media shy. He doesn't like to address us often. And so it's going to be a very important announcement he makes today to explain to us where National Treasury hopes to find some of this money. There has been some speculation. People assume that we're going to, at some point in the future, we're going to see an extension in our or an increase in our taxes, or VAT or whatever, as they try and claw back some of the money they might have to borrow to fund these programs.
And some of these measures that are going to be announced by the minister will somewhat seem a bit confusing, because on the one hand, there is the announcement that companies are going to be, they're going to breathe a sigh of relief because excise taxes, they might be relieved for a few months in order to try and allow them to recover. But at the same time, you have the reinstatement of the 350 Rand. I just had a conversation with an expert from Black Sash, who was talking about this 350 Rand, to say that it actually is not enough. While it was appreciated in terms of trying to deal with poverty and hunger, but it simply was not enough, and it fell far below the poverty line. For them, this amount should actually be bumped up to 585 Rand.
Absolutely, and there's a growing amount of research related to this basic income grant saying exactly that in fact it needs to be increased. It needs to be around 585, anywhere between there and 1,200. But it also brings up the very difficult conversation about whether South Africa should introduce a social income grant, a universal basic one at all. I mean, should we not be dealing with the challenges of unemployment and inequality and not providing social relief in this way?
And skilling people, Kopano, because this has to do, in part, I mean, if you look at the range of people who are set to receive this grant, 18 years to 59, that's largely young people, many of whom, by the way, were at the forefront of the unrest that we saw. So the question is, when are they going to be skilled? How are they going to be skilled? Into what jobs are they going to go into once they have been skilled?
Absolutely, and you know, this is a constant debate, I think, that we have in society. When you look at how much money is given to social development, to skills development, through education, through social services, there is so much money, and I think the programs are not necessarily correctly targeted at solving the challenges that we have. And so perhaps some of the money related to 350 would come from those people's budgets, from those departments' budgets, but the private sector is saying, well, we have given as much as we can. We continue to pay taxes. We continue to try and employ. But in a low-growth economy, in a situation like we have right now in South Africa, it's very difficult for businesses to create new employment, which is what is